Have you ever felt completely consumed by an emotion? Like a wave so big it pulls you under? Anger that boils, anxiety that chokes, sadness that feels like a physical weight? It's in those moments that the idea of just stopping the feeling seems like the only escape. We see emotions, especially the intense ones, as problems to be fixed, enemies to be fought. We might even judge ourselves for feeling them so strongly. Why am I so emotional? We ask, often with frustration or shame. This isn't just about feeling a little down or slightly annoyed. This is about those times when emotions feel overwhelming, when they seem to dictate your every thought and action, leaving you feeling powerless and out of control. It's a common human experience, this struggle with emotional intensity, yet it often feels isolating. We see others who seem calm and collected, and wonder why our inner world feels like a constant storm. But what if those intense feelings aren't a sign of weakness or a flaw in your character? What if they are simply powerful signals, carrying vital information about your needs, your boundaries, or your reality? What if learning to navigate the storm is the key to finding a deeper, more resilient sense of calm? In this video, we're going to dive deep into why intense emotions feel so overwhelming, explore the common traps we fall into when trying to manage them, and most importantly, uncover practical strategies to navigate the emotional storm with greater awareness, wisdom, and ultimately, peace. To understand why intense emotions feel like a storm, we first need to acknowledge their biological and psychological power. Emotions are complex responses involving physiological changes, subjective feelings, cognitive interpretations, and behavioral impulses. When an emotion is intense, these components are amplified. Your heart races, your breath quickens, your thoughts become fixated, and the urge to act, fight, flee, freeze is incredibly strong. It feels overwhelming because, in that moment, your entire system is mobilized. Furthermore, our past experiences shape how we perceive and react to intense feelings. If we were taught that certain emotions were bad or unsafe, we might develop a fear of feeling them, which paradoxically can make them feel even more threatening when they arise. We might try to suppress them, push them away, or numb ourselves. But emotions are like a beach ball held underwater. The harder you push them down, the more forcefully they pop back up. This struggle against the emotion adds another layer to the overwhelm. We expend massive amounts of energy trying not to feel or trying to make a feeling disappear instantly. This internal resistance creates tension and amplifies the very discomfort we're trying to avoid. We also tend to fuse with our emotions. Instead of saying, "I am experiencing anger," we say, "I am angry." This subtle linguistic shift has a profound impact on our perception. When you are the emotion, it feels like an unchangeable state, a fundamental part of your being in that moment. This fusion makes it incredibly difficult to gain perspective or recognize that the emotion is temporary. The narrative we attach to the emotion also plays a huge role. An intense feeling of sadness might be accompanied by thoughts like, "This will never end," or "Something is fundamentally wrong with me." These catastrophic interpretations amplify the emotional pain and make it feel insurmountable. So, the overwhelm comes from the sheer biological intensity, the energy spent in resistance, the fusion with the feeling, and the negative stories we tell ourselves about. It's a complex interplay that can leave you feeling truly powerless, as if you are a small boat being tossed about in a tempestuous sea, with no control over the waves. But here's where we begin to find our power. The key to navigating the emotional storm isn't to stop the waves, but to build a stronger boat and learn how to anchor yourself. This anchor is awareness. The most important moment in the cycle of intense emotion isn't when the feeling finally subsides, but the tiny sliver of time between the feeling arising and your automatic reaction. It's in that space, however brief, that you have a choice. The choice is to pause, to simply notice the emotion without immediately acting on the impulse it brings. This is the essence of mindful awareness when it comes to emotion. It's about observing the feeling like a scientist studying a phenomenon. You are not the phenomenon, you are the observer. This requires a conscious decision to create that space. It might start with something as simple as taking one deep breath. That single breath then can interrupt the automatic chain reaction. It can give you just enough distance to notice the physical sensations of the emotion, the thoughts that are accompanying it, and the urge to act without being immediately swept away. Naming the emotion can also be incredibly powerful in creating space. Simply saying to yourself, "Ah, this is anger," or "I am noticing anxiety," externalizes the feeling slightly. It helps you recognize that this is a state you are experiencing, not who you are. This act of labeling can reduce the intensity and help you feel less fused with the emotion. Allowing the emotion to be present without trying to fix it or push it away is also crucial. This doesn't mean you like the feeling or that you agree with the thoughts it brings. It simply means you are willing to tolerate the discomfort for a few moments. This willingness to be with the feeling, even when it's intense, is a radical act of self-acceptance and the foundation of emotional resilience. It's in this space of awareness that you can begin to discern the signal the emotion is carrying. Instead of just feeling the intensity, you can start to ask, what is this anger telling me about my boundary? Or, what is this anxiety signaling about my fears or unmet needs? This shift from reaction to inquiry is the turning point. It's the moment you pick up your inner compass and begin to navigate, rather than just being carried by the current. Cultivating an awareness mindset means fundamentally changing your relationship with your emotions. You shift from seeing them as masters to be obeyed or enemies to be vanquished, to seeing them as messengers carrying important information. This requires consistent practice, especially when you're not in the throes of intense emotion. Start by practicing mindfulness in everyday moments. Pay attention to the physical sensations in your body, the thoughts that float through your mind, and the subtle shifts in your mood. This builds your capacity for observation. When a strong emotion does arise, make the conscious choice to pause. It might be just a 1-second pause, but it's a start. Breathe, name the feeling. I am feeling a strong wave of frustration right now. Then, get curious. Ask open-ended questions without judgment. What is the physical sensation of this frustration? What thoughts are running through my head? What happened just before this feeling arose? What might this frustration be telling me I need? The answers might not come immediately, but the act of inquiry itself creates distance from the reactive impulse. Another powerful strategy is to visualize the emotion. See it as a wave, a color, a shape, or a character. This externalization helps you remember that it's something you are experiencing, not who you are. You can say, the wave of anxiety is here, rather than I am anxiety. Practice allowing the feeling to be present without acting on it. This is challenging, but it builds tolerance for discomfort. It shows you that you can feel an intense emotion and survive it without needing to react impulsively. Develop a toolkit of healthy coping strategies for when emotions are intense. Deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, a short walk, splashing cold water on your face, talking to a trusted friend, journaling about the experience. These are not about stopping the emotion, but about skillfully navigating the intensity while you process the information it carries. Remember that emotions are temporary. They rise, they crest, and they fall like waves. Reminding yourself of this impermanence can provide hope during intense moments. Cultivating self-compassion is also vital. Don't judge yourself for having strong feelings. Acknowledge that being human means experiencing a full range of emotions, and be kind to yourself as you learn to navigate them. The work of developing emotional awareness is ongoing. There will be times when the storm still feels overwhelming, and you might react in ways you regret. That's okay. See those moments as opportunities to learn and practice again. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress in building your capacity to be with your emotions wisely. What happens when you consistently practice navigating your emotional storm with awareness? The transformation is profound. You begin to feel less like a victim of your feelings and more like a skilled sailor navigating the seas of your inner world. You gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Your emotions become less like chaotic forces and more like reliable messengers, providing valuable insights into your needs, values, and boundaries. This self-understanding leads to more intentional choices. Instead of reacting impulsively out of anger or anxiety, you can pause, understand the signal, and choose a response that aligns with your values and goals. This builds incredible resilience. You learn that you can tolerate discomfort, that you can feel intense emotions and still function, and that you have the inner resources to navigate challenges. Your relationships improve as you learn to communicate your feelings and needs more effectively, rather than acting them out. You experience a greater sense of inner peace and calm, not because you no longer have strong emotions, but because you are no longer afraid of them. You trust your ability to navigate them. That feeling of being overwhelmed and powerless, it's gradually replaced by the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can face whatever arises within you and find your way through. The emotional storm wasn't meant to break you. It was the training ground for your awareness, your resilience, and your inner wisdom. By learning to navigate it, you unlock a deeper, more authentic connection with yourself and the world around you. So, the next time a strong emotion arises, remember you have an anchor within you, the power of awareness. Make the conscious choice to pause, breathe, notice the feeling without judgment, get curious about the message it carries, and choose your response, even if it's just the next tiny wise step. Trust that you have the capacity to navigate your inner world with grace and wisdom. If this message resonated with you today, and you're ready to start building your emotional awareness, hit that like button, and maybe share this video with someone you know who feels overwhelmed by their emotions. They might need this reminder and these tools more than you know. And hey, if you want more insights on building emotional intelligence, navigating life's challenges, and cultivating a more intentional life, hit subscribe. We're here to explore these paths together. Observe the signal, choose your response, keep navigating with grace. You've got this.